which will actually see investment in childcare, easing the burden on those families, allowing more people to go back to work when the jobs are created under our plan, by ensuring that no family in this state pays more than €180 to begin with in terms of their childcare, a major saving for families in this constituency. Shane has championed the issue in terms of the social housing waiting list, the issues in terms of the increase in rents in this constituency, and this is an area where it is acutely felt in terms of the increase in rents, where we have 2-bedroom flats at $1,200, $1,300, $1,400, people being forced out of a rental accommodation because landlords are increasing their rents month upon month. Again, Sinn Féin have led this campaign, and we have the solutions in terms of positive proposals for renters in terms of rent cap. But it's not just about the renters in terms of social housing. And again, this is an area where Shane has led off on 100 people a month presenting in this constituency onto the social housing waiting list. 6,000 people now on the social housing waiting list in this constituency. But again, it's not just about pointing out the obvious, pointing out the problems, it's how do you address that? And Sinn Féin has the solution. We have the plan for those that are languishing on the social housing waiting list. And it's about investment. It's about political choices. It's about building 100,000 social and affordable houses over the next 14 years, making sure that those families who are finding themselves homeless, making sure that those families who are finding themselves on the social housing list because of the increased rent, that they have an opportunity, that is that the state will actually make sure that they have a roof over their heads. And in terms of health, another key pillar of the Sinn Féin programme, we have the solutions to address the problems in this constituency, and this is the message that we need to bring to the doorstep, whether it's in relation to St Michael's Hospital or whether it's in relation to St Columkille's Hospital in Loughlinstown, and we know the pressures that that has caused in the overall scheme in terms of St Vincent's Hospital. We have the solutions. It's about investment, it's about political choices, it's about bringing forward universal health care. And how can you do that? You do it by prioritising, you do it by investment. You don't do it by cutting taxes for the most wealthiest in society. Instead, what we want to do is make sure everybody feels the recovery equal. It means that we make sure that we ease the burden on working families, and make sure that we ease the burden for those that are hard-pressed with childcare, and make sure that people who are in rented accommodation can feel secure. It means people who may need healthcare in the future will not have to worry about how deep my pockets are, or have to languish on hospital trolleys or on a waiting list for 15 months or more. It is because we have decided that public services is something that we must cherish, that we will invest above €3.3 billion into our health system. And what does that mean for people in this constituency and right across the state? It means that every single person in this state will have free GP care. That's 300 million people who will have, additional people who will have free GP care under a Sinn Féin government by the end of our term. It means nobody will have to have their hands in their pockets to pay for medical prescriptions. And we hear day upon day from pharmacists and others cases where people are presenting and saying, this is what the doctor told me I need to take for my illness. Which one of those medications is the most important, because I can't pay the prescription charges for all of them, or I can't afford all of them because the state makes me pay €144 per month. That will be ended. That scandal in terms of healthcare will be ended under Sinn Féin. It also means investing in our hospitals, making sure that hospitals have the proper budget so that they can continue to run, making sure that the frontline services are there by recruiting 6,500 additional frontline staff. It's making sure that the nursing home beds are there so that people have the facilities when they get older where they can stay in their own communities and live out the rest of their lives by providing 3,800 nursing home beds. All of this is possible if you have a vision, if you have a plan for your country, and if you prioritise the needs of society in general above the needs of the most wealthiest in society. And that is the problem. The problem is that we face, in terms of our opponents, political parties who have a fundamentally different philosophy and conviction in relation to how society should be organised. It is about looking after the most wealthiest in society. It is about making sure that the golden circles that benefit the most. It is about always prioritising the landlord, the developer, the speculator over the citizen who needs a roof over their heads. It is about making sure that the banker is looked after, the bondholder is looked after instead of the ordinary citizen. It is about increased rents for those. It is about evictions for those individuals. It is about homelessness. And we see government shed a tear when we see the programme on RTE which followed the 3 homeless families. And it would, you'd have to have a heart of stone not to be moved by that documentary that was in RTE in the last number of weeks. But this didn't happen by chance. Homelessness didn't happen by chance. There's not 1,600 children that are going to bed in one room, hotel rooms or B&Bs or hostels tonight as we speak here. It didn't happen by chance. It wasn't a natural disaster. It was a result, a deliberate result of a policy that decided not to invest in public housing. A policy that didn't build the social houses because they decided instead that would be more beneficial to their short-term interest to cut taxes for the wealthiest in society. It would be more beneficial for them to ensure that the bankers and the developers and the speculators were protected over the rest of society. And we know the hardship that people right across the state are facing in terms of benefit cuts, in terms of cuts to home health hours, in terms of the services that we rely on. But this is a unique opportunity. It's an opportunity when people are asking themselves in this centenary year, what was the Rising all about? Why did people go out, men and women go out and proclaim a republic nearly 100 years ago? What was the motivation? What was it about? Now the government will want us just to fly the tricolour and think it's all about Bono and Bob Geldof and all the rest. But there's people in communities right across the state that are taking an interest, that are starting to question what it was all about. What type of republic was proclaimed? And do we have that republic today? And when people ask that question and answer that question honestly, they will know that this government, like previous government, have failed dramatically to live up to the promise that was made by the leaders of the 1916 Rising. But it is up to us, the people in this room, the real, true defenders of the dream of bringing about an Irish Republic. It is up to us to make sure that it happens. Because it isn't going to happen by chance. It's going to happen by hard work. It's going to happen by having a plan, by having a vision, by having that dream, then believing in that dream, and then going out and delivering that dream. That's also about building political strength. It's about making sure that we have an elected representative in this constituency that will join a growing number of elected representatives in the next Dáil. Not in opposition, but to lead the next government. Because we are ambitious for our people and we're ambitious for our country. And just like 100 years ago, although it was very different times, although it was in a lot darker times when World War I was raging, when people in this city were living in tenement blocks, when workers were being locked out of their workplace just a couple of years earlier, when the British Army was in control of the entire country, when our language was suppressed, our cultural rights were suppressed. People came together from all different backgrounds, just like the people in this room tonight. Every one of us different. Some of us having different priorities in life, some of us motivated because we are believers of the Gaelic games or our Irish language, some of us because we believe in women's rights, some of us because we believe in workers' rights, some of us because we are Republicans, revolutionaries, and we want to end the occupation of our country. And all of us have all of that in common. All of us coming together with different motivations, different primary motivations, and coming together and bound by a single idea. Bound by a single idea that this country can be better, should be better, and will be better. And standing up and making that stand and saying that I am going to play a part in making that country better. And that's what this is about tonight. While this is an election, while it's about making sure that we get as many votes in this constituency that elects Shane O'Brien to the next general election, it is a lot bigger than that. It is about fulfilling the promise of the 1916 proclamation. It is about delivering on that commitment and building the real tribute to those heroes in 1916 and the heroes since that point in time. And that's what we're doing, folks. So let's remember what we're about. Every single one of us in this room has the pen of history in our hands. We're about writing a new history for our country. We're about delivering the solutions that the people in our communities are crying out for. We are about ending the scourge of immigration. We are about ensuring that we have a fair recovery that benefits everybody equally. We're about making sure that people have the public services that they need, deserve, and should